You got a lot of ceiling room up here. All right, there we
How's that?
go.
All
That's
right.
much better, much better. So hey everybody, happy Friday. It is that time of the week again where we get to have another conversation. This is the Open Heart Collective, the joys of live video, everybody. This is the Open Heart Collective, episode number 26. My guest tonight is, as of right now, the youngest guest in the history of the show,
Yep.
Mr. Jordan Jones. So,
17.
I put 18 in your bio because that's what it says on YouTube, man.
Well, I'm about to be 18. That's why I put
Okay,
18. So, yeah.
close enough, close
Same.
enough.
Yeah.
So, for those of you guys who aren't familiar with the show, have never listened, have never watched an episode, twice a week I go live with entrepreneurs, with creatives, with just general human beings who have a story, because the around the subject of mental health. We all know that this is a subject matter that we don't talk about often enough, and there's a
Yep.
lot of stigma around. And the only way that we're going to break that stigma, the only way that we're going to make this a acknowledgement of this mental health, of this public health issue, is to actually talk about it. So that's what we're doing. We're going to have an hour. We're going to talk. We're going to share our stories. And the mission of this series is, I know my story is not going to affect or resonate with each and every one of you guys, but your story is going to resonate with someone else. So the more stories we share, the more vulnerable we allow ourselves to become. That is when real change happens. So that being said, Jordan, tell us about yourself, my man.
So I'm Jordan Jones. Like you said, I'm about to be 18. I'm from Mississippi. Um,
Also, our first guest from
my
Mississippi, so this is nice.
yeah, my mental health. My story, huh? That's all right. Let's go. So it 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 all started like sixth grade, I think, or seventh grade.
Okay. So
I was
you're
around.
what, 10, 11?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was about 10 or 11, and I I would well like most parents, they raise their child to tell them that, okay, son or daughter, you're beautiful, you're
Mm-hmm.
talented, and stuff like that. Now I was told that, but so around that time I had moved to a new town and I knew nobody. I didn't have any friend like no family member to go to school with, no friends or nothing. So I was like all alone, and I I've never really knew how to handle my emotions. Like,
Right.
so let's say something happens, like something small happens, like the words coming down, like that's how it is. But in my case, it was self acceptance, in which
Mm-hmm.
I I believed what like it was their opinions, man. I believed them. Like
Right.
someone would say something about me, and I would believe it. But it wasn't like all of a sudden. It like when it first started happening, I kind of believed it, and then like as the years went on, it kind of like got bigger and bigger.
Right.
And it was a point in my life where when I woke up to go to school, like I didn't even look in the mirror because I hated what I saw. I don't know why. Like I hated what I saw. I didn't participate in stuff because of not accepting me.
Right.
Um, as you know, I'm a senior in high school, and I've wasted like years and years of playing on the basketball team, going to football games,
Right.
going to basketball games. Like I wasted most of my school years because of self acceptance, mental health, anxiety, depression, all that. Like I wasted years and years of it.
Right.
And I'd say last year, last summer around this time was probably the worst because um as you all know, like I said, I moved to a new town. I just
Mm-hmm.
moved to a new town last summer, so it kind of started back up. Like started all over again, and I kind of had like, so I wouldn't say fixing it. I kind of started like telling myself, okay, it's been going on for years. How
Right.
can how can I make it better? So I'm at a new school last year around this time again, which I know no one, and it just like it was like a punch in the face, like all
Mm-hmm.
over again. And um, I was walking to class by myself, eating lunch by myself, and all of this stuff the same way I used to. And I still did not like who I saw in the mirror.
Okay.
Even though people tell me that, oh, you're handsome, oh, um, you're a nice person, all of this, I did not believe it simply because of what other people said. But um, I started, I started writing. I started writing my feelings out, and I've learned that that's something that I really love to do now. And when I
That's
started
good.
writing, it's like this came all into place. I started writing. I found a video from Gary Vee. Uh, what else happened? I started I found an app in which I can write on, which is called Medium.
Mm-hmm.
And I was making like quotes and stuff like that. And I was like, man, what do I want my content creation to be around? And I said mental health because that's what I've dealt with in the past and
Right.
stuff like that. And um, they say that most people like force their like they force something. As as Gary Vee said, don't be like him, be you.
Mm-hmm.
And some people try to be like him instead of being themselves. So
A
I was
lot of
like,
people try to be like him.
yeah. And I was like, okay, I want to have something around mental health because it's something I struggle with, and it's also something that's not talked about enough. Because
Amen.
I think that if your mind isn't like healthy, then you're not gonna live a good life. Because um, man, those like um, back in like 10th or ninth grade, like I wasn't getting sleep at night because I
Right.
dreaded the next day. Like the social anxiety was, man, it was horrible.
I hear you.
And since like I just started my senior year, and the um the anxiety is still there, but it's not as worse
Right.
because if you're like a mental health person, you're not perfect. Like you have some days bad and you
And
have
no,
some
but
good
let's
days.
let's put a little circle around this. Nobody's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has
Yep.
good days. Everybody has bad days. Like I said this a couple episodes ago. Let's look at the stock market and use this as an analogy. 7 out of every 10 years are down or bad years.
Mm-hmm.
So that means
That's
only
true.
thirty
That's
percent of the
true.
time the market's doing well, which means, and that's a good analogy for life. Like you're going to have tough times. It's what you do to navigate yourselves out of them that
Yep.
that is defines the rest of it.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
Um, I can't see it, but like, how many people are viewing right now?
Right now, the live on Facebook rarely gets any. We
Yeah.
get one or two that'll pop in, but what's where the real power is the replay and then the audio that'll come out over the weekend. So
Mm-hmm. All right. So yeah, like I was saying, it was this lady. Um, I had posted something on Twitter, and I said something like, today's one of those days, and she was like, you're a mental health advocate. How do you have bad days? And I was like,
because
I'm
I'm a
pretty
fucking
sure.
human being.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure most people have some bad days. But yeah, like I was saying, I started writing. I found the app. I found Gary Vee. I started listening to myself more because, like I said, I view like I valued opinions so much that it it literally, man, it it ruined my life. I can say that.
Right.
But yeah, that social anxiety, depression. I've been around the block with that. Um, I've
And
I
it's
started
interesting. I want to pause you
uh
for a brief second because your age now is where I was kind of suffering in my most of my depression.
mhm.
So it's I'm basically talking to
Your
me
younger
half
self.
my lifetime ago right now.
Yeah,
So it's pretty interesting. Because I mean, all those things I struggled with too. Relationships didn't go well. I mean, I come from a divorced household, so it's like I had to do sometime with my mom, sometime with my dad, and everything was unbalanced. And like, but I mean, the love on both sides was there. It was just like me, I didn't feel balanced. And then
yep.
my grandmother passed away, and that that sent me down a tailspin. And 17 years ago was about the last time I tried to take my own life.
Hmm.
And the last time I tried, mind you, I tried 3 times previously. And
I've been there too. I've tried it twice. Twice. The last time for me was back in January,
this
which
is the
that isn't long ago actually. It
this
seems like
is
it, but it's not.
it's a serious health concern, guys. Like
Yep.
you're listening to this and you're thinking, "Oh, Ryan's doing this to just get his name out there." I could give a fuck about me. This subject
Yep.
matter is so incredibly important.
Because
And
I can
do
tell
you
you
get
this.
go ahead.
I met a guy. I had put out an article, and he told me that the same day that he read it was the same day that he almost took his life. Like the same day, which was one of my articles. And
Hmm.
back then, I was just writing. Like I wasn't editing. I was just writing it.
Right.
And I went back to look at it, and I was like, this, and it wasn't even long. It was like a short article. It was like a super short one. And
Right.
now me and him are like super close now, and he stays like in some other country or something like that. And I
Right.
was like, man, someone from another country saw my article that saved their life. Like that, like that's all that matters. Like I don't care about the views. I don't care about the
Mhm.
likes. Nothing. Nothing.
And see, this is the world that we live in right now. We live in a world where everybody around us is telling us what we have to do, right? We have to
Mm-hmm.
hustle. We have to go do shit. We have to be on the offense. We have to be an entrepreneur. We don't have to be an entrepreneur. We have to be and do all of these things.
Yep.
Whoa, that's loud background noise. But
Sorry.
what we fail to realize in all of those attempts to satisfy those people around us, we're furthering and furthering and furthering ourselves from our own truth,
Mm-hmm.
and that is a dangerous place, especially when you're 17, 18 years old, and because and this unfortunately just comes with age. It's something that you have to learn that
Yep.
we, when we're younger, put so much stock in what other people's opinions are. And
That's exactly what it is.
it's a terrible feeling. Like I remember being bullied in school. I remember being that guy that was that kid that was a nerd that wore fucking thick ass glasses until I got decided to get contacts. Like that was me. I'll have to find some
Yep.
old photos from me back in the day and share them with you offline because it's or even I'll publicly put them out there. But like that's if you don't have your own inner confidence,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because
that's a dangerous place. And being 18, 17, 16 to 18 in 2018 sucks because you have so many outside forces playing against you
mm-hmm.
and you're like, fuck, what do I do now? And then of course you're having to like prove yourself to your parents, you're having to like keep up grades. So it's like you can't be soft in the
Yeah.
process either. And so it's like this cyclical nonsense of I've got to do all these things, but yet I feel like shit, so I'm not going to do all those things. But then I feel like shit because I didn't do all those things that these people were expecting me to do. Like that stuff's got to stop. Like this, I like to say this, especially when I'm talking to entrepreneurs or musicians or really any creative. Cut yourself some fucking slack. Because if you are writing, you're going to be your own worst critic. That's just the human condition. But
Yeah.
you don't have to be. You can be your own praise too. So stop criticizing every move you make. You're not going to be perfect. I so I
That's something that I struggle with. Like when I first started content creation, my
yeah
um my content was like it was getting like a lot of like attention. And I
yeah.
was like, man, I've got to send like 10,000 emails. I've got to DM like 500 people like Gary Vee does. And I was like, and
Let's get this shit straight. Gary Vee doesn't send 10,000 DMs. He doesn't.
nah,
He's got one of his
yeah,
hundreds of people to do it for him. So let's put this shit
yeah,
into perspective. Like
yeah,
you know you're doing it all on your own when you break Instagram because you're sending too many DMs. That's how you know you're doing too much.
mm-hmm.
Like, and I know that because I experienced it. Instagram shut me down for 10 days last year. So I know exactly how it goes. But like, I really want to, as much as I respect Gary Vee for what he's done, I really kind of want to X him out of this conversation because it's again we're comparing, we're not comparing, but we're correlating our life and what we've done with him and what he's done. And brother, we're just different, man. Like
Yep.
so, and this coming from a subscriber, like I've got his books literally sitting right over here. But like it for me, it's just in the context of this conversation. Now I want to talk about what you did in those moments that were dark for you that allowed you to kind of uplift or lift yourself up out of them. Because like I said, as important is the struggle is the way we got out of it. And that's an important piece.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you navigate your depression? Like, what was it for you? Was it writing or was it something else?
It was writing. Um, Writing was like the biggest thing. Another thing was I had to stop comparing myself. I was like, okay, this is me.
Right.
This is me. This is them. They have this. I have this. I'm I have these type of qualities. They have these type of qualities. I'm my
Right.
own self. I had to look into myself instead of looking into what they thought. And I started doing that. I started like stop caring about what they thought. Um, I started listening to lectures from this philosopher, Alan Watts.
Okay.
You probably don't know him, but he
I
was
know the
a.
name.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I started listening to his lectures. That like really opened my mind up a lot, like even more. And I just stopped listening to opinions. I was like, okay, I have to love myself like wholly because um,
Unconditionally, man.
yeah, like like I said, I've really never I've never like liked me.
Right.
Um, I'd say last summer I started I like to say rebuilding. I started like
Right.
rebuilding, but um I'm not 100%. I have my days, like you
We all
said.
do.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I started rebuilding, and like I said, I joined a new school in which I
How's
think
that
that
going?
was like it. It went bad at first. It was horrible at first. I say that, but I think it was a I think it was meant to happen. I think it was meant to
Okay.
happen.
Explain.
So, new school. I was pretty much a broken glass. Wasn't sleeping at night. Felt like the world was on my shoulders. I met this girl and things happened. You know what I'm talking about. That made it worse. Um, what else happened?
Let's pause on that for a second. Being a guy, that moment when you're like 17-ish and that girl comes into your world and then leaves your world
Yeah.
is the worst moment a 17, 18-year-old can face next to the death of a parent or a grandparent. And
Yeah.
that, like, it's happened to me, man. I've been there countless times. And trust me when I say this, it's going to happen again.
Yeah, I know.
And probably again, and probably again, and more than likely a few more times too. Because, I mean, it's the human condition. You're going to grow, they're going to grow. You're going to grow apart, you're going to grow together, you're going to find new, you're going to have to do more for you. And
Yeah.
the one thing when it comes to relationships too that's very important to point out is you cannot allow yourself to get lost in the process. And that's something that I personally have struggled with.
You said loft? Loft?
Yeah, you cannot lose yourself in the process of a relationship. Because if
And that was around
you
the time when my depression was the worst. Like, it was the worst. And that happened. And it was like I
girls,
got kicked down a hill.
right?
Yeah.
So writing was a big release for you. And then what was the next step? So you started writing. Now, I mean, obviously I know you're an advocate for mental health, which is another reason why you're on the show. But like what are those next moves look like for Jordan? How are you going to kind of take this message of yours to that next level and create change or influence change?
Well, I have I like to say campaign,
Okay.
but it's like I came up with like a name and like a logo and like a page for it and whatever.
Okay.
Um, I guess that's a campaign, right? I guess I don't know.
For lack of better definition, yeah, we'll go with that.
It's for like anyone who's struggling with it. Um, I called it like I called it Speak Up because most people that suffer from it, they look like they're like so happy and stuff, and deep down inside, like they're like dying on the inside. So I
Right.
called it that because most people do not speak up about it, and
That's why this show exists, man.
yeah, and next thing you know, they take their life, and their friends are wondering like what happened, and then they send letters, and they never even saw it coming.
Right.
So I have that. I've been going to networking events.
Okay.
Actually, the first two I went to, I was the youngest. Like I was the youngest person there.
Of course you were.
Most of them was like mid 30s, 40s. Like I was like, wow. So they saw me and they was like, okay, there's not many 17-year-old people doing like the stuff that I do. And that was like,
There's little to no 17-year-olds doing what you do, man. Let's just get that out there.
yeah, yeah. And they was like, they like it and they support it. And actually, there was a guy, I think his name was Omar. I met
Okay.
Omar, and he read some of my articles, and he sent my page to this woman. I forget her name, but she has a business in my town,
Okay.
and it was like a campaign also. I think I got to do like an interview, a walkthrough, and now I'm a member of her like whole like foundation. I get to like I may get to speak at one of the
Nice.
conferences. So
Nice.
that kind of like opened a door for me. I guess you could say.
Nice. Well done, man. Well done.
Yeah. But
So This is we're about midway through. So this is about the time where I take a pause, a quick break, and then
All right.
to basically just say, we know that there are people out there that are struggling. That's why the show exists. We're here to talk to you guys. We're here to be a resource for you. We're here to listen, because oftentimes when you're struggling with mental health, and this is something Jordan and I both understand very, very well, as does every single guest that's been on the show. When you're struggling with mental health, you don't want people to talk at you. You want people to listen to you, because we have an entire
Mm-hmm.
world of people who are talking at us, and it does nothing for us but tear us down. So when we're struggling, when we're going through these tough times, these dark times, regardless of what your struggle is, if it's depression, if it's anxiety, if it's some level of an eating disorder, hell, if it's alcoholism. I mean, mental health has so much that it can be kind of categorized in, and the
Yeah,
only way, and we know the only way that we're going to get better at this as a culture, as a society,
is by talking
as
about it.
human beings, is to fucking talk about it. So
Mm-hmm.
this is my challenge to you guys. If you're listening to this and you're struggling, or you're watching this and you're like, man, I'm really not who I want to be, or I'm facing something that I'm not sure of how to deal with it, reach out. Please reach
Mm-hmm.
out.
Because
This is how.
those
Mm-hmm.
um like those dark times, like those dark times, like it's not a joke. Like it's
Oh, did we lose Jordan? Nope. Maybe. Jordan, your stuff froze, my man. So while Jordan comes back, I'll finish this particular portion off by saying, if you're one who's struggling, I've made myself available. Go to my Instagram. My phone number, you can call or text me, is in my Instagram profile. So Jordan's trying to get it back up and going here. Log in and try again. So while Jordan's getting back, ladies and gentlemen, I again want to just say an immense amounts of thank you to everybody who regularly listens and watches the show. I don't do this show for any other reason than this is an issue that needs to be addressed. And the only way we can address it is together. Jordan's back. Don't worry, man. I held the dead space. We're good. All
I don't know. I don't know
right.
what happened. I don't know what happened.
Technology. It's called being on the Open Heart Collective. Happens every time, without fail. But thankfully, because I'm now 26 episodes into this thing, I kind of know how to handle the quiet moments. So,
So did it save or it's gone?
no, we're good. We're going.
All right,
Keep
all right.
going.
Like I was saying, mental health to me is like the foundation of like happiness. Like if your mind isn't where it's
Mhm.
supposed to be, like you're not gonna live a happy life. You're not
You
gonna be
won't.
happy.
Well, and let's look at it this way too. You're not going to be happy all the time. That's just life. But it's the search. It's not just the search for happiness. It's the allowing yourself to feel. I think which is more important. And thank you to my friend Catherine for bringing that up a few episodes ago when we were talking about because I mean my mission is happiness. I want to do cool things with cool people, be happy, and
Yep.
add as much value as possible along the way. So if I have the ability to add value to your life and we're doing cool things, I'm just going to be happy vicariously because I'm doing what I love to do.
Yep.
But I also have to remind myself that it is okay to feel, and you cannot be happy all the time. It
That's
doesn't work.
that's that's what I had to learn. Like I was like, okay, I'm a mental health advocate. Why am I sad this day? Like I was like, man, no one can be perfect every day. I had to learn and had to tell myself that it's not going to be every day going to be happy and stuff. So had to put that into play.
But think about it. If all you knew in your life was happiness and one single little thing came in, took it all away, how would you handle it? So it's the dark times, it's the sadness, it's the moments of self-doubt that allow you to build strength. And that is the really intriguing part of this whole thing about life. It's taking those lessons and those situations and those moments where you react in one way the first time, and then you're like, wait a second, I'm not going to continue to react that way, because when I continue to react that way, I give power to negativity. And you don't want to give power to negativity. You want to give power to positivity. And positivity isn't that you're always going to be happy or that everything's fucking sunshines and rainbows all the time. But what it is you're allowing yourself the ability to be a human being. And I don't think we talk about being a human often enough. Like, it sometimes sucks being a content creator specifically. Like,
yeah, because like with me, I have a podcast, I have the YouTube, Instagram,
right.
I have my campaign. I have to do and edit everything I post. Like I have no help.
Tell me about it. I know.
Like
I do this, right? This is 2 hours of content.
Yeah.
That I do every week. Well, most weeks, except for when I'm traveling. But I do this on top of the fact that I'm a dad. On the top of that there's family. On the top that I've got 2 businesses that I'm running, or I'm in the management team for. And I've got a third that just contracted me out 2 months ago. So I'm literally working 90 to 100 hours a week on top of this. So, like, I understand, like, all about the time consuming. Like, I'm editing shit Sunday night at 11 o'clock so that I can get it out before Monday morning. Like that, I know how it goes. That's another reason why I do a lot of live content, because the entire purpose of this show being live is we're not editing this. The audio might get clipped on the back end for sake of time, but not really. Like, it'll get the little intro and outro time gaps that don't need to be there will get cut. Other than that, everything stays.
Yeah.
Because who in the hell am I as a content creator to tell you, the content listener, where the hell you should pull value from?
You're right.
None. That's not my call, right? Because let's think about it, right? So there's that, let's say we're doing this interview, right? And we have this really epic conversation. And I'm like, nah, I really didn't like that. Slice. But if you were listening to it and you had heard that, that could have been the one thing that helped all of this shit make sense. But because I said, I'm going to delineate value based on my perspective, I cut it. So, like, I'm saving myself production time by not editing, and I'm actually delivering more value because you guys, the listeners and the viewers, get to pick where the fuck you pull the value from. It's a win-win, because the world that we live in is heavily programmed. Everybody from Gary Vee down to Eric Thomas, down to Casey Neistat, all those guys that we look up to in the content creation space, they're showing you what they want you to see. They're leading you to some level of an end goal, right? Rather than just saying, hey, this is my life. It's not like you're going to stutter, you're going to misspeak, you're not going to always be on the game 100% of the time. But guess what? That's fucking okay. That's why all my shit's live. I don't really edit other than intro, outro pieces in my vlog, because I want to be real. I'm a fucking human being. I bleed. I'm literally filming this shit in the basement of the house. Like,
I'm in the basement also.
In an office that I built pretty much by my hands and with a couple other people. Like, because I'm a real human being. And I think that's why this show is so important, because it's bringing human beings to the, like, people we look up to down to a human level. Like, I mean, I've had Roland's appeared on the show. Kelvin Davis was on last week. A bunch of people I massively look up to have been on the show. And it's just us being humans. Like, how often, I mean, let's be honest. You're 17 years old, brother. When was the last time you sat down and just talked to somebody for an hour? When you weren't here, when you were doing when you weren't like multitasking, when you literally just sat and said, "Hey, Jordan, how you doing?" Like, we don't do that anymore in the culture that we're in. That's another reason why this is so important, is we get to talk, right? We just get to hang out and have a conversation.
Yep.
We just happen to be having a fruitful conversation, about mental health. Because at the end of the day, mental health is really just that. It's a conversation that needs to be had. And it's a conversation that needs to be had on a mass scale across this world. So what's next for Speak Up, and what's next for Jordan?
Well, I could say that last year, 11th grade, I was going like super hard with like the content. I was like I was not getting sleep, putting out content, making content for the next day, because I had got caught up in the whole Gary V style of work, I guess. Like, you should work 18 hours a day, you should get no sleep, all that stuff.
See, fuck that nonsense.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I should work hard when I work and rest when I rest. So when I slowed down, I was like, okay, you're not working today. Why are you resting? I started. I don't know why I was doing that.
Right.
Right. I slowed down and kind of like started all over.
You gave yourself time to breathe, didn't you, my man?
Mhm. And I also I fixed cars with my dad on the side. Well, that's like my main like that's like my first love, which is cars. So
awesome.
Like the content.
What's your favorite car?
1987 Buick Grand National.
Nice.
Yep. That's my favorite car. I don't know if you know what...
and that's like an Alabama car too. I fucking love it, man.
Yeah.
That's a car that you see. I mean, I don't see much of those up here, but like.
Where do you live?
Just outside of Chicago. I'm about 90 minutes outside the city. So, but like, that's just it too. Like, you got to find time for your passion. So this is one of the things that, I've started doing. So I'm about a little over 2 months away from turning 35.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm old. I'm literally almost twice your age, my man. But what I'm on the mission to do is I want to be in the best shape of my life by the time I hit 35. Now, and I'm not just saying that from a physical level. I'm saying that from an emotional, mental, and a spiritual on top of the physical level. And I cannot wait for 35. Like, everybody's like, oh man, I don't want to be 30. I'm like, bring it on. Because I know that I'm going to be good. Like, I'm getting in shape. I'm running multiple nights a week. I'm breaking myself down so I can build myself up to be stronger, because that's the whole point of mental health. You got to be the best version of you, or at least strive towards it on a daily. Because if you're not, there's no point. Because if you're just going to keep putting yourself in the old cycle of self-loathing and self-hate and lacking of self-love, there's no purpose to even be here. Now, that sounded stark. I want to make that known. Like, you got to find positivity. You got to find something to strive for. I strive to be the best me every single day.
Yep.
Because I know when I'm the best me, I'm the best person for those close to me.
Yep. There's something I had to I had to tell people, like my friends, like okay, I may be sad this day, and they're like, why? And I tell them, and they like, okay, well, you were just sad last week. Why are you sad again? Like stuff like that. I don't know why.
What do you say to them when they ask you that?
When they ask me,
Like,
I I
because
really
that's a dichotomy that I don't understand. Because like, oh hey, I'm not having a good day today, and your people will be like, why? You just not had a good day last week. Like, motherfucker, I'm a human being. I'm allowed to feel. If I'm having a bad day, cool, I'm having a bad day, but I'm not acknowledging it for the sake of putting the negativity out there. I'm acknowledging it because I know I'm not on top of my game. Like your friends need to reprogram their fucking thought processes because they're like they should say, "Man, I got you." No
yep.
question. You're having a tough day. Cool. What can I do to help?
And I look at every day, and I say, okay, today I'm um like I have a like a 10% to 100%. Okay, I said like, okay, today I'm 50%. Today I'm 90 or
Right.
100, and I can say
Mm-hmm.
today I was about 80%. I
Nice.
didn't because like some days, like I said, if one bad thought comes across my mind, like the whole world's coming down. That's just me.
Right.
Some people are stronger than that, but that's just me.
And dude, you'll
Um,
gain strength as you get older, my man.
yeah,
I know because I was you 17 years ago.
yeah. I've been told that. I've been told that. I've been told that.
You've been told that you were me 17 years ago?
No, I've been told. No, I've been told that.
I'm
Like
giving you a hard time, man. I
yeah.
got you. I was just being a smartass. But anyways, man. So we're gonna get ready to wrap this thing up here in the next few minutes. For those young hustlers out there, for those young guys like you out there doing this, or young gals out there like you doing this, that are kind of maybe facing down the same direction that you are, what you've gone through. What what are some words of wisdom that you have for them? Because I mean,
Um,
like I said, we want to talk about the struggle. We want to talk about what we did to move out of the struggle, and then we want to deliver wisdom. Because when we have knowledge, then we know how to adapt.
mhm.
So that being said, words of wisdom, my man.
To all those young hustlers out there, if you are going through depression or suffering or whatever, um, if you if you tell yourself that it's never going to end, it's just going to keep going. But if you tell yourself, okay, today's not a good day, one day I will get better. You take it day by day, like don't rush it. Um, don't try to force it. Just take it day by day and build brick by brick because that's what I had to do. I had to build brick by brick.
Right.
Um, and it's not fully built yet.
It won't ever
Um,
be.
yeah. Um, um, I just said take it day by day. That's that's
That's
exactly what I had to
that's
do.
that's good advice, my man. And
Hmm.
that's not just to the young hustlers out there. That's to
That's
us old
anyone.
guys too. That's to
Yeah.
us old guys too. Like, I mean, I'm the type of person that when I'm all in on something, I'm all in. And
Hmm.
sometimes that backfires. And sometimes then that puts me in a position of pain. And I'm not a big fan of pain. I mean, I put
Nope.
myself through some pretty hard situations, tough mutters and some pretty physically demanding things from time to time. But like that kind of pain when you don't let yourself when you don't allow yourself to make a mistake is the worst. So
Hmm.
that's really good words of wisdom, my man.
Yep.
So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, Jordan, let me put your name back up on the screen again here real quick. Everybody knows me, so I'll hide it. I just wanted for the people who prefer to watch but are slightly hard of hearing, at moments like your lips kind of went behind the badge. So I wanted to make
Hmm.
sure like those who are attempting to read lips we're able to hear it. So where can people find Mr. Jordan Jones, and
Um,
how can they get in touch with you?
well, I'm mostly on Instagram and Twitter, which is
Okay.
I
And I'll put
am.
all your handles and stuff down in the bottom of this too. So
All right. Well, I am underscore Jordan Jones. Um,
okay.
there, you can put my blog link. Well,
Yep.
do you know what
I'll put it.
there's a there's a website called Linktree, which you have one link. You press the link and it pulls
If
up like.
send me your link tree and I'll get it all in there, my man.
All right. Well, that's where you can find me. Well,
Okay.
that link will have everything really. So.
Yeah, that's fine. So to everybody who has taken time out of their day, their week, their month, their year to be a part of this series, I am eternally grateful. I know that it's Friday night and it's been an hour and you guys have got probably other pressing things that you want to do, but the fact of the matter is this conversation is nowhere close to being done. In fact, we're not even started yet. Now, I mean, this conversation in this moment is wrapping up, but this conversation around mental health is just beginning. The mission is not ending anytime soon. I will speak this until I can no longer speak, and then I'll find somebody else to speak it for me. Yep. Because that's how important this is. And the more of each and every one of you we have striving towards breaking the stigma around mental health, the better off each and every one of us and the generations that come after us will be. Because I'm on a mission, not just for me, but for my kids. I don't want them to suffer the same way I suffered, because I was told I was not supposed to talk about this kind of stuff. If you're feeling, awesome, go feel. It's okay. But you have to allow yourself the ability to make a mistake and move on, because when you do that, you can become stronger for it.
Yeah, that's what I had to do. Like,
right.
When I was feeling, I was so hard on myself. So once I stopped being hard on myself and I say, okay, I feel this way. Let me feel this way so I can be better. And it may take a day, it may take 2 days, it may take a month. Like when it comes to mental health, time isn't even a thing to me.
No,
because
it's not.
You need all the time. You need all the time that you need to heal. And it took me 16 years to even like see what was wrong, like what was actually wrong. And I've been on this rebuild whole journey for like a year now, and it's not even started yet.
Guys, I'm just getting started.
Yep.
Like, put me 17 years ago in your shoes, and I was a mess of a human being. So now,
when did you start your whole like content creation thing?
I didn't start my first business until I was 27. Oh. And that was a record label. So I didn't even get into content creation until like 2 years ago. Because we'll talk about that off air. I mean, everybody, I don't intend to make this a business podcast, so I don't want to go down into the business strategy or theory. But we can talk about that off air some other time. But for me in this mission actually started about 5 years ago around mental health. A good friend of mine and I started the first iteration of the Open Heart Collective. It was actually this, the concept was this online interactive book, excuse me, where I would go in and write my story. You would go in and write your story. The person next to you down the block would go in and write their story. And then we'd all be able to read and grow and interact with each other's stories. Now, very similar, obviously, in format to how Facebook is now. But like conceptually, it was just literally a book that you could go like literally flip pages and go and write your story, but read the stories before yours and then read the stories after yours once yours got up there. But now in the age of video and audio, we moved it, we changed it. And I've been on this mission now since March, and I've had some amazing people on this show, and you're one of them now, my man. And this is one of those circumstances and situations where we just got to keep going. So, and now there's a really cool thing that I'm going to talk about here before we wrap up. I just found out literally today, about 3 or 4 hours before we created this episode, that the streaming platform that I use for the audio version of the podcast has now started a monthly sponsorship type of opportunity. Now, I have said that I'm not monetizing this series, and I am not monetizing this series, but this is another way that we can help mental health organizations and nonprofits trying to do positive good for the communities that they represent around the world. So for those of you guys who do decide that you want to subscribe, or that you want not subscribe, but that you want to sponsor this show, I will be eternally grateful. And I can tell you this, that 100%, obviously minus taxes and whatever's got to be taken care of on my end, every single subscription, every single sponsorship that comes into this program will turn around and will go and help support a mental health organization anywhere in the world, whether it be here around my hometown, or like maybe for each person where I'm donating at different times, different places, because this is a way that I can help more. But again, I'm going to need your guys' help for it. So if you're interested, or you want to become a part of that audio side of this experience, the links and stuff like that, I'll definitely I'll put in Instagram so that you guys can take part of it. But I think that's another key way that we can help, because being that I run part of a nonprofit organization myself, I know how hard it is when you're trying to do good in the world, and the thing that's holding you up is money. So if we can, through this channel and through this opportunity, bring more to mental health organizations around the world, I'm down for it. And as you guys know, Rowan Bridler and I are working on something pretty special. Rowan was, I believe, episode 7 or episode 8. I don't recall. I want to say 8. Her and I have been collaborating around creating this global mental health resource list. So if you're struggling anywhere in the world, you pull up this list and you know who to call. Because the biggest problem when it comes to mental health and you want to seek help is you don't know where to go. Because you hit Google and you type in mental health and 80 million things flood in front of you, and you're like, I don't know, that's not it. You feel disconnected. And this is not a community that we want to feel disconnected in. This is a community that we want to feel connected in, because this is a safe place. If you're hurting, it's okay. We're here. We got you. That's why this resource list will also be available here in the coming weeks and months. It's, as you can imagine, if we're tallying a global resource list for mental health, it is quite a bit of work on top of everything else that we're already doing. So the time frame is a little bit longer than we want it to be. But I guarantee you this list will be something that will be truly incredible when it's done. And my mission is, once the list is done, I want to find a way to turn it into an app. So that you can download it, or some type of a website, and I could build the website out. But that way, that if you had, regardless of where you were in the world and you were struggling, you had something that you could reach out to. And I want to do this too. Guys, I make myself available. So available that my fucking cell phone number, this thing right here, is literally in my Instagram profile. Call me, text me.
Mine is too.
And that, like, this is how accessible we're making ourselves, because we know how important it is when you just want your voice to be heard and you don't know where to go. This is a resource for you. So that being said, we're getting ready to wrap the episode. We're coming up on an hour now, and I've got some other obligations. Otherwise, I'm sure Jordan and I could jam on this for hours. But I end every single video with this mantra, this mindset refocus, reshift, because it's incredibly important to do so. Anyways, the first part of it, be happy. Number 1, have fun. Number 2, and hustle your fucking ass off. Number 3. But remember, my friends, there is no amount of hustle on the fucking planet that is going to bring you happiness or fun. Think about it. And then in between all that fun, happiness, and hustling, make sure you make time to breathe. Even if you just once a day say the word breathe, you're forcing yourself to breathe. So that's my mission to you guys going into the weekend. Take time to breathe. Or if you're listening to this or watching this on Monday, breathe. Give yourself time. Because I know it's helped me, and I know it helps a lot of other people. That's why yoga is so important, because it forces you to breathe. And that's why meditation is too. So anyways, guys, this is it. This is episode number 26 of the Open Heart Collective. For those of you unfamiliar with how this works, this video will live eternally in Facebook for as long as Facebook allows me to have it there. But it'll also be available on YouTube and in audio form on my podcast by Sunday night. So that being said, Jordan, my man, thank you. I'm here for you. We're family now that you've been on this show. So anything you need, I'm always here. All right, brother?
Me too.
Awesome, my man. Well, everybody, we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.